Mike, Penn State's 10-1 now after beating Indiana last weekend. They come off that Iowa loss, and I'm thinking, what does this mean? Where do we go from now?
What does it all mean?
Exactly. Now you start putting it in perspective now. They have one game left in the regular season. I can't believe how fast this fall went.
That's flown, yeah.
They still can win a lot here. They can't maybe win a national title with their one loss, but there's a lot riding on this game against Michigan State, isn't there?
Well, there is a maybe 1/10 of a 1% chance that things could play out, that they would get a 1 or 2 in the BCS.
And Jessica Biel might date me too. Yeah.
All right. It's almost certainly not going to happen, but it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Last year, LSU was ranked 7th in the BCS on week 14. And ended up playing for the national championship.
That's a good point.
It's not impossible. But anyway, let's assume for a moment that it is impossible for the purposes of explanation. If they win Saturday against Michigan State, they at least share the Big Ten title with Ohio State, and they would definitely go to the Rose Bowl because of having beaten Ohio State head-to-head.
Tiebreaker, okay.
If Michigan State beats Penn State and Ohio State wins, then Ohio State goes to the Rose Bowl by virtue of having beaten Michigan State and actually killed them about 3 weeks ago, 45-7. If Ohio State would lose and they're playing arch rival Michigan, which is having the worst year maybe in their 130-some year history of their football program. But if they would somehow lose to Michigan, then, of course, Penn State would have the Big Ten title outright. And Ohio State losing to Michigan is the only way that Michigan State can go to the Rose Bowl.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. If Penn State wins against Michigan State on Saturday, this will be their second Big Ten title. I know they're sharing it, but it'll be the second Big Ten title in 4 years. Pretty nice accomplishment. It says a lot for these guys that were brought in. This was the Derek Williams great recruiting class that was brought in. He'll have 2 Big Ten titles.
That's right. The group that are 4-year seniors. That are fourth-year seniors will have been there for both the conference titles, which is pretty impressive.
I'm thinking on the offensive line, even
Shipley's there, who has become a real leader. I think some of those senior linemen have become, kind of big brother type leader type guys. They look like the kind of guys. They seem to me like the kind of guy, Ornberger and Shipley in particular, who you're going to want to have a beer with 5-10 years from now. They're that kind of guy.
They'll be on the Penn State show at the student bookstore.
That's right.
But you've always, it seems like you go to Shipley a lot. He's a good quote too. I've seen a lot of your stories.
He is pretty sharp guy, and I think a pretty mature guy, and one of the guys who goes over to he has Clark's ear. He goes over to Clark and buck it up. We can't. Everybody on this sideline can't see you with your head down. We can't see. We need you to have the head up. It sends a signal to everybody else, in addition to the fact that you've got to feel that way.
It's interesting. Michigan State, should we be concerned about the Spartans this weekend if you're a Penn State fan?
Well, I think the thing about Michigan State is people are going to overanalyze this entirely from the Penn State standpoint. I think if you look at it from Michigan State's standpoint, I don't even think they expected to be in this position at the end of the year. It's an up-and-coming program, very good young coach, Mark D'Antonio, and a terrific running back, Javon Ringer, and a pretty good quarterback. I mean, they're not a bad team. Mm-hmm. Good offensive line. Not a great run defense. And I think one of the reasons why we've taken it easy with Evan Royster is you're going to see a lot of Evan Royster and maybe even Derek Williams in that running role on Saturday. So I think Michigan State, where they are as a program, to be coming into this situation is asking a lot. So I haven't made my prediction yet, and I've been on a little bit of a roll with the predictions, Starkey. I don't like to brag. But no. I really am leaning toward Penn State a little bit here.